Birth Christian Ministries in Columbus, Ohio. When I saw this 5 years ago, I saw this as an opportunity to be a blessing to our kids and things. And I thought, and I still believe with all my heart that every kid can learn. Some kids have a clear runway where they don't have things going on in their lives and they can really be focused. But the kids that I was connected to, they had a lot of things going on outside of the classroom that hindered what they could do in the classroom. So I went on a quest when I left the school district to try to figure out, is there anything that we can bring to the schools to help our babies out to be able to be successful in schools by dealing with the stuff that they were dealing with outside. And I worked for a nonprofit organization, and we were doing really well. But then I heard about this, and it kind of put together two things that I'm pretty passionate about, and that is my faith and education. When those two mix together, I believe we have been, I believe it, and I believe we have been a blessing to our kids all across the country. So I'm going to share with you about LifeWise Academy. All right. And what I'm going to do is share about this beautiful woman right here. This is my wife. We've been married for now 36 years. And so, I share this picture of her because when I heard about this and I made my jumps from one career to another, I went with permission. Not that I'm scared of her, but happy wife, happy life. So when I told her that I was going to make this jump, she was all on board. And so 5 years ago, I made this jump, and I have been overwhelmed with joy of how God is blessing all across the country, and I'll share a little bit more about that with you. So as I'm getting started, you don't want to hear me talk for the hour and 30 minutes no, just kidding. You don't want to hear me talk for a long time, so I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to share a video. The video is going to give you a real big picture snapshot of what this is all about, and then I'll kind of plug in the pieces and really kind of help speed up the presentation that I normally would do. So if you click on the next slide, we should have a video, and you'll be able to. All right, here we go.
Yeah, y'all hear that? Where's the volume?
All right, so let's start it over.
During school hours. Bible education during school hours. A movement is underway. Every week, tens of thousands of public school students legally attend Bible classes during school hours. I can't overstate the importance of that phrase in there. It's during school hours. Teach the Bible during school hours, during school hours. Bible education during school hours. The Supreme Court has ruled that public school students can be released from school during school hours to receive Bible education if the program is off school property, privately funded, and parent permitted.
That was the picture you?
I have seen my own children testify. They've seen their classmates changed.
Kids need to be affirmed, they need sports, but more than anything, they need to hear the gospel.
According to a 2024 national poll, more than 3/4 of Americans believe public school students need moral and character education. And more than half of all Americans support teaching public school students biblical values. Now it's possible with LifeWise Academy. Public schools are seeing the impact as well. A recent independent study showed that schools that implement LifeWise see overall attendance go up and in-school and out-of-school suspensions go down. It's no surprise because the Bible changes lives.
To think if I hadn't signed him up, I don't even know what our lives would look like. And like our story, it might not just be, 20 minutes in a classroom. It might lead somebody to a church and change a whole household.
I really want LifeWise to go on until my kids get to do it, and then my kids' kid.
Decades ago, our nation systematically removed Bible education from the public school day. With LifeWise Academy, any community can bring it back.
There are people in our backyard who have never heard the name of Jesus. I I don't know about any other organizations that are doing anything like this.
We wouldn't be able to discuss these things with them if not for doing it right in the middle of the school day.
The law allows us to do it, so why not do it?
This is likewise 5th grade.
Finally, all parents have the option for their children to study the Bible during school hours. To voice your support, visit lifewise.org. Find your school, sign your local community interest list, and share it with everyone you know. It only takes 50 signatures to get started.
Okay. How do I go to the next slide?
I think it's the left, right? Right. Sorry.
A movement is underway every week.
Why we use that? Okay. If you just want to run it through that way, that's fine. So why we exist, as you saw, and as I talked about with our young people, there is a high, statistics are telling us that a lot of our kids are depressed. A lot of them are experiencing anxiety. They're going through dynamics that is coming at them a lot faster than what it came at with us. Through the internet, through social media, they're getting pressure 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if you are like me, I remember when the TV used to go off at a certain time, and then you could unplug and you could really sleep. It's not like that. For a lot of our kids, they're going through a lot of different things. Anxiety, suicide rates among young people is on the rise. I had a neighbor during COVID, her daughter had committed suicide. So these kind of things became really personal to me. We also know that church attendance amongst our young people, and this was the thing that got me, 80% of our young people are not attending churches, but 90% are in public schools. So I saw this as an opportunity where I thought separation of church and state, when they took prayer out of schools, that we didn't have a means to really kind of instill faith in them. But as he said, if you can click the next one, the Supreme Court ruled in 1952, next one too, in 1952, that it's legally possible for students to be released from public schools for religious instruction, so long as 3 things are in place.
No.
You have to have an off-site facility.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, so you have to have an off-site facility, so it has to be off school grounds. No public school dollars, so it doesn't cost the school a dime to be able to host these types of programs. And parents have to sign their kids up to participate. And so this is a right for parents to be able to have their kids released from school. And for us, they learn a Bible-based character education program. So you can click on the next one. Next 2.
I don't know why.
All right, it's okay. All right, so I'll just go through and just kind of tell you about the program, and we can bump the slides. So basically, what we sought out to do, we sought out to basically use release time programs to be able to facilitate Bible-based character education for our young people. We had a program. There was a program in Van Wert, Ohio, that used this concept. They use this concept basically to be able to teach kids in their community. And what they found out is that 60% of the students in their public school, elementary school to start off with, had started attending Bible-based character education programs. And by year 3 of the program, 95% of their students were participating. What they said was, we've had so much success with being able to reach our young people. We want to know why other communities aren't doing this. And so what we found out is that there are a lot of different things that come into play. You have to organize the churches, you have to organize the community, you have to get volunteers, you have to sometimes coordinate transportation, and those can be barriers. So what we decided to do is try to package it all together. And what I say is if the community has the want to, we have the how to. And when you put those two together, we can make things happen. So what we try to do is basically work with local churches. We encourage those churches to adopt public schools within the community and basically facilitate these type of programs. And these programs are based on these three components. These are our standards. Basically, we are 100% gospel-centered. We use the Bible stories. We don't get into doctrine. We're not teaching how to be baptized, speaking, we're not doing all of that. We are just using the Bible stories. Every story has a connection to Jesus, and every story has a character component. And that's what we facilitate with our young people all across, Ohio and all across the country. And so we heard about this program in Van Wert, and I said, and as I said to you, Van Wert grew very rapidly. They had a lot of success. They were wondering why other communities aren't doing it. And basically, again, barriers to entry. We put together a toolkit, and then once we put together a toolkit, we had to figure out, does it work? All right. And so what we did was put it into practice. Van Wert was the first program. It was a cheat sheet. They already had success, but we had piloted in 2 other communities. And by the first year in both of those communities, over 60% of the students were participating in Bible character education programs. All right. And so we were really excited. We thought that, okay, we can mass produce it. We can roll it out. 2020 hits, and then hits COVID. All right. You can keep going through. One more. And just click on the slides.
I got it then.
Okay. All right. One more. Proof of concept. Yeah, right here. Yes. All right. So with the proof of concept, we had, like I said, we had 2 successful programs in 2019. COVID hits, and so we thought that, it would kind of go a little bit slower. So we planned that, hey, we could be in 25 schools by 2025. All right. And what we found out is after COVID had released, we were in 36 schools. And so we figured out that, we were pretty poor at planning goals, and that God had a bigger vision. All right. And next slide. 2021, we were in 36 schools. Next slide. And what we found out is that we set a goal to be in 1,000 schools by 2025 based on how we were growing. And so we've been ahead of the curve. And this year, we just found ourselves in over 1,000 schools to start in this school year. We are, as a matter of fact, yesterday, they announced that we are in 1,147 schools. We had started in Ohio in 2020. In 2021, we were in Indiana and Ohio. And as you can see in here, the Lord has really been doing a great work. So this year, we are set to be in 34 different states with this program. And last year, we served over 44,000 students across the nation that were being pulled out of school 1 day per week for 1 class period, learning the Bible, and then going back to school. And so, as I said to you before, 44,000 students attending public schools, learning the Bible. So you click to the next one. You click the next one, impact, next one. All right, and this is one of the stories. She was in the video. Her name is Angela. Angela's son, Christian, was a second grader when he first started attending Likewise. And their family had never been to Likewise, had never been to church. And so Christian, they registered Christian. They got a flyer in the mail. Mom registered Christian for the program. And Christian loved it so much, he asked his mom, let's go to church. Mom and dad go to church. The family gives their lives to Christ. And Angela is now a woman's small group Bible study teacher. And Christian's now in 4th grade and 11 Likewise. He moved from his original district to another district. He was a little disappointed, but then he found out that Likewise was coming to that school as well. And it kind of was a quicker picker up. All right, go down to 2 more. All right, our goal is to reach 50 million students. There are 50 million students in public schools. And our goal is to be able to reach every single one of them with the gospel by teaching the Bible. And what we find out is, again, a lot of our young people are hurting, and we feel like we have the best curriculum because we're using the Bible. But what I say is really the people. You know, we have volunteers all across the country that every single day are showing up in schools and being available for our kids. They're answering the tough questions that our kids have. And they're showing our kids love and respect and, you know, really kind of telling them that, hey, your life matters. You have worth. And that's why we're seeing so many of our kids being successful and so many kids that are registering. Our biggest source of recruitment are kids telling their friends because they're having so much fun with the program. It's kind of like a 1 day per week field trip. And during that 1 day per week field trip, they're learning about the big picture. You know, they're learning about how their lives have worked. So we have a goal, a mission to reach 50 million students in public schools. And we can go to the next one. We can go down to the next one. What will it take? And that's why you're here tonight. What will it take? As Pastor Neely said, Portsmouth is in the process of building to be able to engage the local school district to be able to offer this to the students in the school system here. And what is it going to take for that to happen? My role with LifeWise, I'm the Senior Director of Spiritual Wellness. So as I told you, I'm an elder at my church. I'm kind of like the chaplain for LifeWise. And so a lot of what I do is try to make sure that, hey, we saturate everything in prayer, all right? And so as a community getting ready to get this started, whether you can lend a hand physically, everybody I would hope can lend a hand spiritually and be prayerful in regards to this initiative. Be prayerful for the students because we know our students are going through a lot. We see that they're going through a lot. And a lot of things that we see, there's some things that are going on behind that we need to kind of pray through to help get them the help they need. We need volunteers. If you have a heart to be able to volunteer, sometimes we might need a volunteer bus driver. We might need a volunteer teacher. We might need a volunteer teacher aide. Those are things that are critical to make sure that this works because, again, it costs the school nothing. And it's really the church mobilizing to be a support to our schools. We need ambassadors, people that will tell other people. Dr. Neely, he has shared, hey, can we bring some people together to talk about this? The last 2 days, we've been in different meetings just sharing. You know, this is what we're looking to do. I think Miss Hazel shared with a couple of you to come out tonight to learn about this. Ambassadors are people that just basically tell, spread the word, about the program. And then, the last thing is it does take dollars for us to be able to raise for the community. Every dollar that's raised by the community goes to support the program in the community. So a lot of times we might hire a teacher. Those teachers are coming from the community and those dollars are used to kind of offset the cost. Typically what we share with different communities is that for the price of, it's $1 a day basically to sponsor a child, to sponsor a kid that will participate in a LifeWise program. And so at a minimum, if you're willing to see kids have this opportunity, if you might consider that, if you may not be able to help directly. But those are the things that it will take to do that. And I have that virtual tour video just so you can see what it looks like on a daily basis. We can show that.
LifeWise Academy provides Bible education for public school students during school hours. This is possible because of a little-known law which allows students to be released from school during school hours to receive religious education, provided that the program is off-school property, privately funded, and parent-permitted. The LifeWise program is adaptable to the specific needs of each school and community, so every program looks a little bit different. Transportation and classroom facilities vary from community to community. We're in Elida, Ohio. Behind me is the local LifeWise program. The community here took an old house and they renovated it, and you can see it is an absolutely beautiful facility. Currently, volunteers and teachers are inside prepping for the day. They're actually in the middle of a prayer meeting. When that's done, they're going to head over to the local elementary school and pick up students to have their first class of the day. Behind me is Elida Elementary School. You can actually see volunteers getting the students ready. They're going to get them on this LifeWise shuttle, and then in a moment, they're actually going to bus them over to the local LifeWise facility, where those volunteers will take them inside. Teachers will take students. They're about a 40-minute Bible-based character education class. They're going to learn about things like obedience, and respect, and truthfulness. They'll participate in singing activities, reading and writing.
Indeed, does anybody remember? It starts with an I. That's a hard question. It was a long time ago.
Israel?
And then when the classes are over, the volunteers are going to get them back on the shuttle, and then they're going to bus them back over to the local school where they will resume their normal daily activities. Let's join them. Hey guys, how are you? Good. You guys ready for LifeWise? Yeah. You can see the excitement of the students as they're getting ready to go over to the LifeWise class. You guys are excited, right? Each week, 376 Elida students participate in a LifeWise program. That's nearly 60% of the entire elementary school student body. The program hosts 2 classrooms each day, 3 times a day, 5 days a week, so that every student participates once each week. The LifeWise curriculum walks the students through the entire Bible during their time in elementary school. Students will start in Genesis in 1st grade and end their time in Revelation in 5th grade. Each lesson teaches a Bible story, explains how it connects to the bigger picture story of Jesus and how God's love can transform our character. LifeWise programs like this are popping up all across the nation. Every LifeWise looks a little bit different. The only question is, what will a LifeWise look like in your community? It only takes one person to take one step to get the ball rolling. Visit lifewiseacademy.org to get started.
All right, so that's what LifeWise looks like. And I'll open it up for questions. I want to say one more thing because I have a young lady here. What grade are you? Ninth. All right. So that was the question that I want to be able to answer right off the bat. Our program can go questions.
Getting a question update on where we are as it relates to Portsmouth and Dating Open. I'm giving you something because God has placed it on my heart. They talked about Maureen. You can have it. God placed it on my heart to give it to you. Where we are is the step process. They're at step 7, which means they're training team to come in and be organized the LifeWise Academy. That's where they're in the process. That means very, very soon you will see a LifeWise Academy in Portsmouth, Ohio. Very soon. And so I wanted to make sure y'all was aware of it. When I found out that they were at step 7, I didn't know if our folks knew about it. I didn't know if our community knew about it. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows about it and everybody gets the option of whether they want their kids in it or not. So I wanted to make sure y'all was informed of what's going on. Okay. Like I said earlier, I'll be derelict in my duty as pastor if you didn't know about it. Okay. So when I find out something, I try to make sure my church knows about it, what's going on, or whatnot. The church we haven't made any commitment. That'll be at a conversation later. And there's a process that we have to go about doing stuff like this. That's not the reason why we're here today. We're here to have the conversation. We're here to talk about it so y'all be aware of what's going on. And then I'm going to show you how it works. Okay? So you can open up for questions.
Anybody have any questions? Comments or anything?
Any questions? Okay, let me ask you a question. Because it's a question that somebody might ask you. Okay. Is this brainwashing?
Oh no. This is basically, like I said, it's the Bible stories. We use the Bible. We're not trying to indoctrinate kids. We are unapologetically using the gospel. We're using the Bible as our primary source of instruction. And like I said, we just keep it simple. We learn the stories. Every story has that connection to Jesus, and every story has a character component. So one of the things I had shared before, and I like to share this in the community, you got a hammer? Do you have a hammer? You use a hammer? Okay. Do you use a hammer, my friend, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I use a hammer too. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. You use a hammer enforcement. It's a tool. And so what LifeWise is a tool. It's run by, it's the community using this tool to be able to engage their students or their young people with the Word of God. All right? And that's all it is. So we do have the resources. We have the curriculum. We train the teachers to be able to use the curriculum. And it basically fits your community in terms of how it would look as you're working with the program. Right. What questions typically? Any other questions? Yes.
I was just wondering, has this the life thing? Is it like the decline in student violence in schools?
Great question. So yes, ma'am. And so what we are seeing, we did a research study a couple years back comparing students that are participating in LifeWise versus students that aren't. And in the schools where LifeWise was, there was almost a 50% difference in the discipline from school to school based on the students participating in LifeWise. Last year, we did an end of the year survey with our teachers, and 67% of our teachers across all of the programs, we had 585 programs at the conclusion of last year. And so 67% of the teachers said that they are seeing behavior in their students decrease based on their participating. And I'll share a story that I just heard today. One of the schools in Columbus, the principal had got a call from one of the parents. And the parent just basically thanked the principal for bringing our program to the school, that this parent had seen her kid go from extreme getting removed from school every at least 2-3 times a week, getting calls. So by the end of the year, that student was, better at home and also had done much better at school. I heard another report about a young lady that the staff was clowning about and saying that this young lady always gets in trouble, and her participating in LifeWise, they would say at the beginning of the day when she came to school, we don't know what her day is going to look like. Katie barred the doors. She might be high, she might be low. But what they said, it was a shock to them by her participating in LifeWise. She was a totally different student, and she was hugging teachers and hugging administrators, which was something she would never do. So it's having an impact in terms of kids feeling valued and really kind of owning who they are in terms of their own personal journey and faith.
Because I've realized, and I'm not the only one, I'm sure other adults have realized that since they took God out of school, the violence has started.
Yes, ma'am.
But now that God is being brought back in,
right,
so to speak, I just wondered if it was starting to decline, because
yes,
I feel
ma'am.
it should.
Yeah, we're seeing, and it's about a matter of value. A lot of our kids don't feel valued. And this is one of the ways to let them know who they are. That they are God's creation. That God created them. He created them. He loves them. And when you are reinforcing that message time after time by giving them the time and attention that they deserve, they take it. They own it. And I heard somebody say today, if we make connections with kids before we ask them to comply, we'll see a difference in kids. And what we're doing is making connections with kids, and they're really kind of walking it out in terms of personalizing and making sure that they are walking with integrity and doing a better job in school. All right.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I just want to open it up to anybody. So how would someone get involved? How would they register this student?
Ask Dr. Neal. No. So what'll happen? they're in the process, as he said, they're in step 7. Step 7 means that they are looking to start building out a staff, building out a team. They are looking to hire a director. They may already have a director, I'm not sure. But once they hire that director, that's a boot to the ground person that will be responsible for hiring in teachers, hiring in bus drivers, if we need transportation, coordinating what this would look like getting from the school to a facility, building out a plan and really executing that plan. So there'll be a lot of movement of that taking place. So it's really the staffing that'll happen. Tell me that question again. Kind of got lost in that first place.
Somebody.
Okay, so how you get signed up. So once they get all the pieces in place, then they'll start a campaign with the school to start registering students. They may even start that before. So they might get out to, different community events, maybe set up a booth, sharing about LifeWise, and students would be able to register. They might, ask the kids in church if they want to register. Typically, they'll register students through an online application. So Portsmouth Schools has a website, a link to a website. This is, and I'm going to pass these out so everybody has one of these to take with them. But basically, on the back of the form, there's a QR code. If you scan the QR code, it'll tell you to find your school. And finding your school just basically means, you would type in Portsmouth, and there'll be information to where you can just kind of fill out a quick registration and get started with the process that way.